How to crochet a sunburst granny square bag. This tutorial will be in multiple parts and this is part 1. So to start, you are going to need a sunburst granny square, and you can head to my tutorial to make these. You're going to want 2, but what we are going to do is add 2 extra just normal granny square rounds to this. Now I've made mine from this yarn, so it's a cotton Aran weight yarn. I just find with cotton that it won't kind of misshape, so if you're putting stuff in the bag, it's not going to stretch. It's a bit more hard wearing for something that might get used a lot, but you can make it in acrylic as well. It is completely up to you. So if you followed my sunburst granny square tutorial, you will get to this point when you've finished. Don't fasten off, and what we're going to do to add these 2 extra rounds is exactly as when we do a granny square. We are going to turn our work and slip stitch into that corner, and then we are ready to start our 2 extra rounds. So exactly as we did for a granny square, we chain 2, that counts as our first US double crochet. Then we do 2 more double crochets into this corner, and then exactly as we would with a normal granny square, we are going to put 3 double crochets in every single one of these gaps until we get to this corner. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 3 double crochets. I'll do that and then I will show you how to do the corner. So here we go. As you can see, I haven't weaved in my ends yet, but I will do it. You can do that as you go if you want. But so we've got our first set there, which is going to be the first corner. Then we've done 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 3 US double crochets, and now we have come to a corner. So what we're going to do is exactly the same as a granny square. 3 double crochets into this space. Oops. And because we know it's a corner, we are going to chain 2. And as we do in a granny square corner, our next group of stitches goes in the same space as the last ones. And what we're going to do is do that exactly the same all the way around. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4 more groups of 3 double crochets. Then we do a corner, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, all in that corner space. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 3 double crochets, and then another corner, and so on until we meet our first set here. So I'll go ahead and I'll show you how to carry on from this corner. So I've just got to that last corner. So we've done our 4 groups, corner, 4 groups, corner, 4 groups, corner, 4 groups, and then we are just about to do our last corner. So we're going to chain 2 and then slip stitch into the top of that chain 2 we did at the beginning of the round. There we go. Now I forgot to say that if you did fasten off from your normal sunburst granny square, don't worry, you can just join yarn, and I'm going to take the opportunity to show you that because I have almost run out of this pink colour. So what I'm going to do is fasten off, and then I'm just going to chop that a little bit shorter, enough to sew an end in. And now, rather than having to turn our work and slip stitch into this corner, what we can do is just add our yarn here exactly where it needs to be. Now you can use any method you like for this, but this is what I do. So I just take my yarn and then I pull it through this corner and I simply tie it on. I know some people don't like knots in their crochet work, so like I say, use whichever method you prefer. And then all you need to do is pull up your loop and you're ready to go. So for our final granny square round, we want 1 more. What we're going to do is obviously chain 2 again. And obviously if you were carrying on, you will have turned your work and slip stitched into this corner, and then you chain 2. That counts as our first double crochet, and then we do 2 more double crochets in that same space, exactly as we would for a normal granny square. And then if we have a look, what we're going to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 3 double crochet, and then a corner, which is of course 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups, corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups, corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups, and then we finish our corner. So I'm going to go all the way round, and I will meet you back to finish off this final corner. So here we go, I've just got to my last corner. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups, corner, 5, corner, 5, corner, 5, and we're about to do our last corner. So again, exactly as before, chain 2 and slip stitch to the top of that very first chain 2. Now at this point you can fasten off, so just chain 1, snip, and make sure you leave enough to sew in your ends, and there we go. So we want 2 of those for this bag, and at this point, if you haven't already, I would go ahead and sew in all your ends. You can also block them at this point if you want, make them nice and neat and square. You don't have to do that, that is an optional extra. So once you've got 2 of these, you can come back for part 2 where you will learn how to join them together.